Everyone thinks because you're a zombie, you don't know good coffee. Well, they're wrong. There's only one brew that gets my seal of approval. Deadly Grounds coffee is my guilty pleasure. The aroma is so intoxicating. It brings all of my neighbors out of the woodwork. Deadly Grounds coffee. Coffee to die for and zombie approved. It's good to get a little deadly. Use the front door! Oh, they're so disgusting.
Hey everybody, it's Tuesday night, which means it's time for another live Wicked Horror Show. Sorry I'm late. I'm Kevin, and as always, I'm joined by Tony Has Nine Fingers.
What is going on, people?
And this week we have a full house. We were supposed to have Andrew on a little while ago for KNIFEMARE.
My bad.
Had to cancel, so he came back in full force. So first off, I just want to introduce Andrew. What's going on?
Hi. Everything's going good. I'm happy to finally be on. I'm awake this time, so
nice. And I'm just going to go down the line here. We have Stephen and is it Lene? I think I said it wrong on the panel. Is it Leanne? No, Leanne.
No, you said it right on the panel. It was Leanne.
I just didn't say it right this time. And we have Jessica as well.
Hi.
How you doing? And we have Greta, who's over here as well. Greta, I don't know how you disappeared from my list at one point.
Yeah,
great first name. I had a cat named Greta, and she was awesome. There you go. So anyways, KNIFEMARE. I met a couple of you guys at Sci-Fi Horror Fest up in was it Vernon Downs Casino up in
Vernon Downs. Yep.
And I you guys piqued my interest for sure. Lots of really cool visuals, and just Andrew's just a good dude. I talked to you a bit. And,
we talked a bit.
Yeah. And then we talked a bit online as well, and we were trying to get everything set up. And and I was lucky enough to moderate a panel with Leanne and Felissa Rose, Jesus, and what's her name? Genevieve Rossi. That's it. Genevieve Rossi. Oh, man, it's been a long day. This time change has really got me going. So first off, Andrew, do you want to maybe talk a little bit about the movie and it's a short film, and maybe a little bit about how this came to be, and your history in filmmaking?
Yeah. Well, my history in filmmaking is I guess I've always had a history in making it. When I was a kid, I used to rent our VHS camcorder out from the library and just try to shoot whatever. Like, I remember when I was in 11th grade, my stepbrother and I just tried to do like a quick remake of Reservoir Dogs, just with a VHS camcorder. Nice. And squids and stuff. It was bad. I don't know where that tape is. There's only like 3 minutes of footage. But KNIFEMARE kind of came to be out of a sense of I love Italian horror. They're always kind of visually beautiful, especially when you're talking about Fulci and Argento, Mario Bava. And I went into KNIFEMARE wanting to make something like that, but the end result was more along the lines of something trashier, like, Bruno Mattei, Joe D'Amato. But I thought of that title 17 years ago, and I didn't know what I wanted to do with it. And so it just went through all these changes. And then one of the people that's in the movie who's not here, he acquired this expensive camera through very shady things. And if I had known that, I wouldn't have used it. Oh, wow. They essentially committed felony fraud and stole from Kickstarters. It's pretty sleazy, and I'm not happy once I found that out. And this is just one of the main problems that guy gave me. But so he was doing a short film, and we were talking. He was like, you should do a short film. But he's a very hard person to motivate and keep going. And so I literally just thought of this in a weekend, and I think it kind of shows because the plot's kind of really thin. and I had to cut out a lot of stuff that I wanted characters to be involved in or wanted to do or conversations. But that's essentially just how it came to be, was just like there was this very small window and I had this idea and I just wrote it. Yeah, it must have been less than a week. And then within a month I was shooting it, sent out emails. They were all like, everyone that's here was basically my first choices. So I guess that worked out.
So are these all actors that that you've all worked together before, or you guys have known each other in the past, or just auditions and stuff like that? I asked the question right as you take a drink. That's how I do things. But yeah. So yeah, how did that whole process go? Like, how do you know these fine people that were?
Oh, I did. I think the only one I knew about was Greta, just from similar circles. Mm-hmm. Steve and Leanne, somebody gave me your information, and then Jessica, I believe, was the same way. Somebody just said this girl's trying to like get into acting and everything. And then Thomas, I knew from working with Ron Bonk. Mm-hmm. Thomas was in my first short film. We called it Revenant, but there's no actual title, but it is in Empire State of the Dead, which I think is streaming for free on Tubi.
Oh, nice.
So that's how I met Thomas. And so I wrote him a part specifically. I have a story about him earlier, about how great he is. Or not earlier, later. And yeah, so I had no idea who these people were, but they just said, yeah, I'll be in it. So I was like, perfect. And they're like, I can do some auditions. I'm like, nope, we're good. Let's go.
Because me, that's the audition. You got it. Yeah.
Basically, I'm like, as long as you're not a jerk, we're okay.
Nice.
So that was it, because any no budget or low budget filmmaker can tell you one of the hardest things is casting, because you get a lot of, yeah, I'll do it. Or you get like run around, people drag their feet. And because it's not a paid gig most of the time, you can't blame them, but it's so you're just.
If you really want to do it, though, they're gonna.
Yeah, you really want to do it.
Yeah.
So the second everybody said, "Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to talk over you." It was a little delayed.
I was talking over you. No, it was. So those are the people that are part of the movie, the ones that actually came through and did it, and that's important, like you said.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things that come up into the works with these kind of things. I know, like I've had some opportunity to go to some sets and stuff like that I couldn't go to because of work and stuff like that. So, I mean, that stuff happens, but if you're able to make it work, then that's great. So, you knew Greta first through like mutual friends and stuff.
Yes.
So Greta, I'm going to throw it to you. How would you describe your part in the film, and maybe give us a little background on your history as well? Like, have you acted before this, or what's the deal there?
Yeah, so I've acted for about 10 years now, mostly in independent movies, and I did some community theater, but most of the projects that I've worked on are horror movies, which I absolutely love. I grew up watching like 80s slashers, and Andrew was telling me that this was like an homage to an Italian horror, and he had suggested to watch, I think it was like Deep Red, because he had a particular like psychic character in mind, and
that was Deep Red.
And I absolutely loved it. And I had brought like, different fortune telling things to the set, like during the seance and the readings, like those are my tarot cards and crystals, because I love that kind of stuff. So it was really fun, trying to, bring this fortune teller to life, this psychic.
That's cool. So you said you did some community theater and stuff in the past. I'm a big component and fan of community theater. Like a lot of times you go to see these plays that, there's no one there that but a lot of times these people like knock your shoes off because they're so good. And you're just like, how come they're not doing more? I don't understand. Like, how come they're not in everything I see on TV? But so more power to you. I would be terrified personally to do that. I'll go and watch. If you had me get up on stage, I would cry. But it is what it is. So Jessica, what about yourself? Do you want to maybe give a little background on your story and maybe your character a little bit?
Yeah, so surprisingly, I was the main role, Jennifer. I've been acting since high school, but have been more so into modeling in my, I guess you would say, adult life. And I believe it was actually Patricia, who knows Leanne, who referred me over to Andrew, and it just clicked really well. I really enjoyed working with everyone. It was a lot of fun. I was actually just talking with Andrew prior to this that I am just dipping my toes into the horror scene. So I guess I'm the oddball out, but I'm really starting to enjoy it. Working on this type of film was really fun with all the gore and the blood, and of course, acting like you're dying. So it's a lot of fun.
Yeah. Act
Yeah,
like I'm
I
dying
just-
on the regular. That's all right. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. We were talking. I literally had to explain the Halloween timelines to you like 4 times.
Yeah.
And then we're like, okay, we got to get on this now.
So that's interesting. So you are going in kind of not versed in horror so much. I mean, there's a good amount of actors and actresses out there that don't really know much about horror.
Well, I was going to say,
That's
too,
hard.
how many people say that they don't watch it, but when they were in it, it caught them. It was one of those things where it was like, I never watched it before, but doing it now, like dipping your toes into it, now you want to do it a little bit more, because especially like the guts and gore or whatever. So
Absolutely.
it's actually a lot more than I even thought. Doing this for, 8 years now, you would think that everybody that's in a horror movie love it, but some people are like, I can't watch a horror movie. I'm in one, but if I went to go sit down and watch one, they're too afraid. So it's more common
That's
than
me.
I expect. Oh yeah.
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 And just real quick, Casey's in the chat saying, "Hey Jessica." So I'm assuming you know who Casey is. But so yeah, that's pretty interesting. And I'm supposed to be starting another podcast with a friend, and it's with a cast member from the first Scream movie, and she doesn't know anything about horror. So it's gonna be like the
Gives me
re-education
hope.
of, and then her name. And we're just going to try to school her on horror all the way back from the classics up to like more current stuff.
Can I have the scratch notes? I'm kidding.
Yeah. Well, you can. Yeah, by all means. So
Just don't throw your industry terms at me.
Yeah. So Stephen and Leanne, I got the pleasure of meeting you guys at the convention, and I spoke with Leanne a little bit more than I did so much with Stephen because of the panel and everything. So you guys have been in it for a bit, right? You guys have acted for a while in some horror stuff, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Usually.
Do you want to go? Because you got to talk to me more than you.
Okay. Well, I've been acting since I was in college, and mostly community theater and again school plays. I'm actually just came back from a rehearsal for
Nice.
Christmas Bells at Players of Utica.
And I cannot talk. And I'm rehearsing a play in Alien, so we're separated. Although I had a little bit of a setback the other day by an accident, but no one talk about that.
Yeah.
I've been acting since I always wanted to since I was little, and I've always loved horror. And probably like 2013 I started like with the local independent, but then
Me too. Mad Angel Films.
Nice.
And then what drew me to Andrew Peters, the role I really want to do, because I always want to play like a bitch and promiscuous girl. It would be like a challenge. And then when I read the script and like the colors, and he wasn't originally in it.
No, she sent me the script that Andrew sent her. And I saw a look at the first scene that they wanted her to do, which was a love scene. It was a sex scene, topless or whatever. And I said, no, we've been down this road before. We've been down this road before. This is just some guy who's just trying to, we've done this before with people who turned out to be just some guy who's never seen a woman with her clothes off. And this is
Get out of my bed and take off your shirt.
But she's like, she convinced me. She's like, no. And then I remembered I'd seen Andrew Peters' work before in Empire State of the Dead. My film with Matt Peters, no relation, is in that same.
Oh right, yeah, that's weird.
So yeah, and then the guy that she was supposed to do the love scene dropped out as I understand it, right, Andrew?
Yeah, you know what? I don't even remember who it was.
I think it was Michael Merchant.
Well,
Oh yeah, it was Michael.
Well, he's not important.
Man. No, not anymore. Screw Michael.
Oh,
Well,
snap.
No, I'm joking. Michael's awesome. They're doing a lot of success right now with him and Jonathan Straighton with Johnny Z.
Oh, okay.
So, but
Nice.
sorry, continue.
That's okay.
So yeah,
So-
so then she's like begging me to do it, and I'm like, at that point I kind of like was kind of burned out and kind of quit acting pretty much at that point. But I took a look at the script, and it's much more descriptive in the action blocks than you really should be in a screenplay. But
I'm a little compulsive, yeah.
But it actually showed me that this guy has vision, and I could see that he was trying to do something with those Italian giallo films. I watched a couple of them to try to see if I could get into the mood for the character. This was a little bit, at that point I hadn't yet played too many bad guys, which are the best part. They're the best part, really. So I was really... Yeah.
Most of the bad guys are actually the best people in real life. And most of the guys that play the hero are jerks. Like at least from what I've known.
Most of your villains, unless you're in a Stephen King movie, are three-dimensional.
So. Yeah, but it's I mean, a lot of the people that we speak with are the bad guy. So and they're all pretty awesome. I mean, don't get me wrong. There's every once in a while you run into somebody who's just like, okay, dude, you fool yourself, but whatever. Sometimes they have the right to be, you know.
And that's a funny thing. Before Andrew was saying, he kind of threw it together and whatever, but especially with short films, you have that liberty of it doesn't really have to make sense all the time. You just got to get like the grip of, at that point in time, we've had people with shorts, and it's one of those things where we put in two categories. Did you get enough in a short where you don't need any more, or where you gave them enough where now they want to see more? And I think that fits into this one, because even though it might be a little like all over the place, I want to know what happened beforehand, like especially where little creature came, like the evil came from, and stuff like that. So you gave enough, but it's like I want to know a little bit more, and then what happened beforehand. And like you were like another thing with the short is Stephen and Leanne were talking, they never played characters like that. But the one thing too that the short has is, a lot of the times you don't get the character building where it's like, okay, if someone gets killed off or whatever, you're like, oh, well, they had enough character where it's like, okay, when they died, it was like, all right, good riddance kind of deal. So you had character, development. You had, a little bit of everything in there. So, I definitely appreciated it.
Yeah,
thank you.
and visually, it was just really cool. Like the story was good. I mean, obviously it was good, but I think the visual definitely added to it. Like it just was, like even the trailer and everything. It looks really good. Like you totally knocked it out of the park with the lighting and everything, and it looks great.
Thank you.
Yeah,
one of our co-hosts loves Italian horror, so I think he would have sat here and said you definitely hit on the. I saw like Argento's Suspiria in there.
Oh
it had like a mix of, to me it was like in a Suspiria lighting with an Evil Dead plot all over the place, and a little bit of everything for me.
Oh yeah, it's the fun thing about anytime you're making a film is you can just take from stuff you like and you figure out what works, what doesn't. You mix it with your own thing. I mean, it doesn't always work out, but I guess that's just kind of as long as you're having fun, because no film is going to please everybody. So you really need to make it for yourself. You got to make something you would want to see. And in a way, I would definitely watch this movie because I'd be like, what is this garbage? Oh, I love the lighting. The plot's stupid, but the blood's great. And this is fun. And that was really important. The other thing was making sure everyone else was having fun while making it. I had something about the lighting when you brought it up, and now it's kind of slipping my mind.
I don't know. But one of our regulars who's not in the chat right now, he actually messaged me asking if we had a show. So I'm assuming he's lost somewhere. He always goes through and asks what everyone's favorite horror movie is, which is kind of like an open-ended question. Like it really depends on the day. for a lot of us. I'm actually curious if Jessica has an answer yet, but let's go down the line. And Andrew, are you like, as far like, are you more so like oh, Sergio is here. He's in Facebook. He's in YouTube. I don't know what's going on, but Sergio's here. What's up, Sergio? And actually, PJ McKeon says, "Hey, what's up, y'all?"
Hey.
So that's in the chat as well. So Andrew, what would you say your favorite horror movie, and what do you think inspires you? Like, what made you like? I saw this, and like, this is what I want to do now.
Wow. I mean,
I'll come back to you.
Well, I grew up when I moved, because I moved to Kansas at a very young age. I think I was like 4. So around 7 or 8, when I was just riding my bike, it's when I sort of discovered video stores. And they didn't really care what you rented. And so I would just go grab stuff based on how the box cover looked. And I remember grabbing all 5 Silent Night, Deadly Night movies and my mom freaking out when I was watching them. It was part 2 and the guy's eyeballs exploded when he was getting shagged. She was like, "What are you watching?" And I'm like,
yeah.
But it definitely started way younger because my stepfather was also like a tape trader and a bootlegger because he traveled around the US for work. And he would just come home with weird stuff. I remember that's how I discovered Faces of Death. So the Bud Dwyer suicide is like permanently burned into the back of my brain.
Oh, yeah. Jesus. That one.
I just remember I was like, that wasn't fake. And
that was, oh my God. Whoa.
Jessica, don't look it up. You
don't look it up, Jessica.
Don't bother. Yeah, don't bother. It's
I'm already on a list, so I won't.
The Sacrament actually I don't want to say parody, but what is it? They reenact it basically. Have you seen The Sacrament?
The Ty West movie?
Yeah.
I'm a Ty West fan. Just letting you know, I love Ty West. I think he's extremely underrated, even though there's a lot of people who love Ty West. There's a lot of people who don't give him the respect I think he deserves. So I agree. Sacrament's awesome. But yeah, I hear what you're saying.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Anyway, so it's like I just always grew up around it, and it's always fascinated me. And I guess the question that I'm driving wildly away from was, what's your favorite horror movie? Because it changes like based on my mood. Right now, I think I've watched Evil Dead Trap 3 times in the last 2 weeks. I just love right now really odd Japanese horror because it's always incredibly uncomfortable and scary.
Yeah.
And then there's slapstick humor, musical numbers, over the top gore, and you're just like, what am I watching? Like, this is a blast. Because like I just turned someone on to House or Hasu, however.
Oh my God, it's
so good.
It's not in writing anywhere, but you can't tell me that Sam Raimi was not influenced by that movie.
Oh, absolutely, he was.
Like, there's so many scenes out of that. I'm like, it's almost exact. Like, it's But I mean, it's not a bad thing. I think the movie's fantastic. It's one of those movies where it just makes zero sense half the time. I did it for an episode of one of my other podcasts, and like some of the guys were like, "What the hell are we watching?" Like, this guy just randomly turned into a pile of bananas in this movie. I don't understand. You're
like, oh, that girl's decapitated head is just flying around biting people on the butt. But that piano just ate the girl's fingers. Like, what are we doing?
Yeah, but then the fingers were just like one by one.
Yeah, they're just dancing on the keyboard and stuff. It's so much fun.
That Japanese one that's like partly cartoon, partly.
Kinda. Yeah,
and it
House or Hasu.
Yeah, the Japanese title is Hasu, or however, I don't know how to pronounce it, so I apologize for butchering it. But the American translation is House.
Yeah, it has a cat for a cover.
Yeah, I just got the vinyl from Waxwork. They just released it. So, because it has like a beautiful and haunting theme song that they use throughout the movie. And the movie also uses like photographs, because you'll see like when 2 characters are like doing something important, the screen will like flash white. And then there's like that burn that just fades out of the 2 characters of what they were doing.
Yeah.
And it's supposed to like show you like there's something like very memorable there. And I love that.
Yeah. It's definitely like, it's another movie that like a lot of people dismiss as being a weird one, but you really got to watch it. I do recommend that one, Jessica. So if you get a chance to check that out, I bought it on Criterion a while back because I'm like,
I did too.
I have to have the best release of it because it's so weird.
It is. It deserves to be seen in the best. I'm kind of getting into the whole 4K thing. I'm a little slower on it with older movies. I'm like, okay, if it's on sale, I'll grab it. But that is one movie I will double dip for if it's on 4K. Like,
Yeah.
It's just colorful and fun.
Yeah.
Probably my other favorite one tied for it is literally if you scrounged around in a garbage can, you would find Bruno Mattei's Terminator 2. Or as it's called here to avoid any copyright problems, Shock and Dark. It's a Terminator or it's an Aliens ripoff until the last 15 minutes when it becomes a Terminator ripoff.
Oh, okay.
And this is actually how I became friends with Michael Merchant. We were on the set of She Kills, and that's where we met, making She Kills for Ron Bonk. And then we were just talking films, and we got on to sci-fi, and he was telling me he's a huge Terminator fan. I was like, oh, have you ever seen Terminator 2? Like messing with him, and he was like, yeah. And I'm like, have you really though? And he's like, yeah. And I brought it in for him the next day. I burned on a DVD, and he was like, what the was that? He's like, I'm like, it was awesome, right?
I love those movies where you're just like, oh, I've seen everything that's crazy. I'm like, no, you haven't. Like,
and I'm like, hold on, I have Night Killer from Claudio Fragasso. Stuff like that.
For me, and it's totally like not even to that like extent or anything, but like movies like Student Bodies, where it's just like it's just a bad parody movie, but it's also wicked racist out of nowhere.
Yeah,
and it's very uncomfortable.
Does not age well, no.
Oh, not at all. Not at all.
But it kind of did what Scream did before Scream, but so did there's another movie called like There's Something Out There, stuff like that. But
so
anyway,
long answer. You have a couple favorites. So Greta, what about yourself? If you had to pick a favorite horror movie, or maybe like it doesn't, besides horror, like what inspired you to start acting and stuff too?
So the first part of your question, my favorite is Return of the Living Dead.
Okay.
I just love the campiness, the 80s punk. I remember watching it really little, and I was like terrified of the Tower Man zombie. But then as I got older, I became to appreciate the humor that's in it. So that's like all-time favorite. But sometimes I'll be in the mood for different things. Usually in October, I'll watch some older horror movies like Universal, or I have a soft spot for the Hammer films. I love the mood and just the feel for like the period pieces and the costumes, and Peter Cushing and Christopher Lee. I do like the older classics, which also kind of goes.
What was that? Oh, I think.
Sorry,
go ahead.
Sorry, Kat.
So part of like the Hammer films kind of influenced me to want to act, because I remember like in a lot of the Dracula movies, like the vampire brides were really beautiful, like those white gowns and the long hair. And like as a kid, like I want to be a vampire bride, and I actually got to be a vampire bride. So definitely watching vampire movies over the years, I just just seeing on screen, just seeing the characters with like fangs and just blood coming out of the mouth. I'm like, oh my god, that looks so cool. I want to do that. I want to be that. And the wish had came true. I've got to be a vampire in a couple of movies, and absolutely love it.
Nice. So the one of the other podcasts I do is called Black and White Fright, and we do a lot of classic horror, and we've been dabbling in some Hammer stuff, and a lot of it's really good. There's a lot that's just weird too. Like there's one movie, I forget what it was, but there's a musical number in it, and like the song gets stuck in your head, and it's like a biker gang that ride like motorcycles, but they like, I don't know, it's super. It's like,
is it Psychomania? Which is also called the Death Wheelers. If that's
maybe.
one.
But it's really weird. There's a musical number, and it's like literally like they go kill, kill in the song. And it's like really just cheesy. But it was also really good at the same time. And but yeah, no, that's I like a lot of the Hammer stuff. Like I said, we've just been recently dabbling in it because there's way more bad black and white horror than there is good. So we're trying to find more good. It's tough. I'll be honest with you. It's a little.
I can give you a quick solution to that. Turn your TV settings to black and white.
No, but we can't. We also have a date. We have like a year cutoff too. Like,
okay.
Like nothing before like a certain year, or nothing after a certain year.
I got you.
Yeah. So I'm gonna go to Jessica last because she's the newest to horror.
Thank you.
Yeah, yeah. Like, thank you. I'm with
So
the
now you have
cleaning
time
stuff
to.
now. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
Who am I going to steal?
Yeah. So, so Stephen and Leanne, what about
And
yourselves?
a cat.
Like, and the cat. What's your cat's name?
Genghis.
Oh, nice. That's a cool name.
Oh,
Did you
my
say
God.
dingus?
Genghis?
Genghis. I thought you said
That's awesome.
dingus, and I was like, what?
Either way, it's an awesome name. So, but yeah, what about you guys? If you had to pick like a horror movie that that scared you, like a bunch,
horror movie,
or some horror movies. I like mine are. I have multiple as well, but
Yeah, depends on your mood.
Okay, yeah. You know what? You can't go wrong. You know what? My first horror movie was Frankenstein Meets the Wolfman. It was. I saw it when I was like 6 years old, 5 or 6 years old. So, you know, that's a good movie to start. You know,
yeah, when you're a
getting
kid,
into horror. You know, it's not too. You know, it's not too. How do I say this? I can't say it's not too violent because it is violent. It just doesn't show any blood.
Yeah, but it's not. Yeah, it's all like pre-code, so they could get away with some stuff, but at the same time too, they never really push the envelope that much. You know?
Right? Yeah, you know, and it just gets you started into the whole idea. So you got a werewolf and you have the monster in it. So it's like it gets it all. It's all there, and I've watched every one of the Universal movies ever since. And then I've maybe in the past 5 years been getting into Hammer. We're talking about so really into Hammer. Yeah, that's good. So
nice. And what about you, Leanne?
Let's see. One. Well, I have a whole bunch, but Nightmare on Elm Street, the original.
Yeah.
It's like the
it's weird too. Like there's scenes in that movie, and there's scenes in like other ones of my favorite horror movies that terrified me as a kid, and you watch them now and they really don't hold up like effects wise, but it still gets you, you know, like the face peeling in Poltergeist is just obviously a puppet.
That's
the arms stretching Freddy's arms in the alleyway as a kid, that looks so real, and I was just like, what? Why was I scared of that? It's still cool, but I don't know. It
was a haunted image for sure. Like he's
totally
backlit, you know, there's fog, there's like creepy trees, like everything seems balanced on left and right, and then like, you know, he's dead center, like the focal point. It's like beautifully framed. I think that's probably why it sticks with a lot of people.
Oh, totally, yeah. And you know, if they tried to do that nowadays, it would obviously just be CG, and it would. I respect the practical aesthetic of it definitely more.
Yeah. I think they did that using like fishing poles or something like that, or they would
really?
like fishing rods on the opposite side, so the arms would go like this. I think that's how they did it.
Huh.
But that's the one thing you were talking about, going to like 4K and stuff. There's certain movies nowadays, especially like the older stuff, that you want to keep it as low grade as possible because the more you upgrade it, the more you look and you're like, okay, that's how they did it. And
there's the lens lines and everything up. There's the thing under his shirt. Yeah.
I really may have to disagree with you on that because you're probably just the 4K because you are saying 4K. I'm telling you, 4K is basically what you're seeing as if it was actually on film projected on an actual screen. What you're used to is not an HD image, but a TV video image. And so, you know, you're upgrading it. You're actually just so you really aren't seeing anything that no one has seen.
When you're a kid and you're in the theater seeing a movie, and you know it's far away from you, you may not notice it, but now you're like, it's so clear and so bright. It's like I don't have a 4K TV, so I don't have anything in 4K. But sorry,
it's okay.
You want to buy me one? Cool. So but I bought like the Batman, like the Tim Burton Batman, like, you know, that whole set, whatever. And like, I was watching, I'm like, I want to go back and watch all this stuff. And I'm like looking at the seams on the Batman's cowl. And I'm like, I never noticed that. And now it bugs me.
Like where it came out of the mold and they had to like cut it and stuff.
Yeah.
And you see like all the imperfections and all like the little flakes they didn't like shave off and everything. Yeah.
And movies that like, I think still hold up effects wise. Like if you watch Freaked, you know, you can see like the worm, like the human worm. At one point he's sitting there and they're celebrating, and you can see they didn't bother to put the costume on him from the waist below. So he's just sitting in a chair. You just see his khaki pants, and he's just like a worm from the waist up. And I'm like, all right, it is what it is.
There's like even Evil Dead like that too. When they tried to like reformat it 100 different ways on every DVD and Blu-ray, like you'll see different imperfections every time you watch it, depending on which version it is.
I know,
but
and it's unfortunate because you tend to look for that stuff. At least I do. So you've had plenty of time to think, Jessica. From what you've seen, which episode of Goosebumps would you say is your favorite?
I didn't even read those.
I didn't either.
You don't read TV shows, Jessica.
No, but they're based off of books. Like in her defense, they are based off of books.
Okay, fine.
So in my defense, I read a lot of thrillers, but they're not horror. And I do think I'm going to be the odd one out because I really enjoy the paranormal horror movies.
That's still
There's nothing wrong with that.
So I would probably say my favorite one would be Insidious because that one we almost left the theaters. I was so scared.
Really?
But I can sit through it now. So progress.
Nice.
So probably that one in The Conjuring, just because ghosts are real. And I don't know.
I'm a fan of both. And are you really like a believer in paranormal? So am I. So
yeah, cool. I used to ghost hunt, right, Jessica?
So did I.
No, we need to do that.
I've seen some stuff. I'll say that. I don't know if I believe it. I've seen some stuff.
Yeah. I've experienced some stuff as well. I was part of a group for a while, and me and my wife used to book our vacations around haunted locations, and that's what we would do for we like rented out an inn for like midweek, and we were the only people there, so they just gave us free reign to the whole place. It was awesome. And it was the same inn that the guys from Ghost Hunters owned. But
oh, that's cool.
And actually Jay has been on this show. So there you go. There's a little connection there too.
Grant actually showed me how to I forget the term, but basically I jailbroke my Canon T2i.
Oh, to make it so it's like infrared?
Yeah, and everything. He showed me how to do it
Nice.
or not Grant, what's his name?
Steve?
Yeah, I think it's
Steve,
dark
Dustin?
hair, goatee.
Dark hair goatee.
I think it was Grant.
That's not Grant. I don't think he has a goatee. Or
All right,
didn't anyways. Anyways, Steve, I did a like a thing with Steve, and there was one time I was at a Jack-o'-lantern spectacular at a zoo in Rhode Island, and we're walking by. I'm like, my wife's like, "Who's that guy over there in pajama pants?" I'm like, "That's Steve from Ghost Hunters." I'm like, "Hey, Steve, what's up?" He's like, "Hey, man, what's going on?" And then we just walked by, and my friend's like, "How did that just happen?" I'm like, "Steve from Ghost Hunters, whatever, leave him alone." Because he used to be a cop in Mass and everything, and like he was in a metal band. Wow. Like he's got a good background. He was he's a really good drummer. And I don't know, he's not doing that anymore. He's now just looking for ghosts. But so it's interesting. I agree. I enjoy the Conjuring movies. Not all of them, but I definitely the first few, and Insidious as well.
How many are there now?
Too many, some would say.
Conjuring.
I think they're on 3.
3?
Yeah, but then they have that whole like
spin-offs. There's The Nun. There's
Annabelle, and Lala Nora.
Is this like all the James Wan verse, the JW cinematic universe?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Okay.
There's other stuff out there. Have you ever seen, Jessica? Have you ever seen Poltergeist?
I have actually recently.
What did you
Jessica, did you see the one with?
Scary.
Did you see the? Did you see the one with Sam Rockwell or the one with what's his name, Craig T. Nelson?
I honestly don't know.
Was it an older movie or was it like
it was the newer one?
All right,
okay.
So you didn't see Poltergeist.
So you didn't see Poltergeist. Come on.
Oh,
I know. Just throw fruit at me.
There was only one part in the new one that I found interesting when they actually like brought you into the other world, into the like closet. I'm like, okay, that's interesting.
Don't defend it.
But I said that was one. That's why I said there was one good thing.
No, cut his mic.
Yeah, Tony, you don't get paid for this, but you're fired. Right. No, well, it was. Yeah, I mean, it could have been way worse, but I mean, I don't know.
It's on the poster. It could have been worse.
Yeah, exactly. It could have been way worse, and there's just a big thumbs up tonight. No, but like as far as like remakes or reboots or whatever, like Hollywood just needs to calm down, pump the brakes, come up with some original ideas.
Good luck with that.
And that so real quick, I want to play the trailer for this for those that haven't seen it, because we were when we were supposed to have Andrew on before, we still played the trailer and we talked about the movie a bit. But I want to play the trailer for it, and when I come back, I want to talk about independent film in general and like some stuff that's been happening in the last couple weeks to a month that I want to get your opinion as independent filmmakers and actors and stuff. So let me here's the trailer for KNIFEMARE, which is, you can watch the whole thing right now on YouTube, full movie. Well, how long is it? Is it like 20 something minutes?
The whole movie, I think, is just shy of 25 minutes or a few seconds more, but we'll say 25.
So here's the trailer for KNIFEMARE. Just go to YouTube and just type in KNIFEMARE and you'll find it. It's like right there. So here we go. Here's a trailer for KNIFEMARE.
KNIFEMARE. 4 friends on a getaway weekend.
He was hearing voices telling him to murder his whole family.
Let me assure you, miss, that the murders that you heard about that happened here...
Sorry.
It's all true.
KNIFEMARE. But an uninvited guest.
He shoots her right in the hand, splattering her brains all over the pillows.
Has come.
He has killed, and he will kill again.
To ruin the fun. KNIFEMARE. If you don't wake up, it's because you're already dead. KNIFEMARE.
Even the trailer has the whole 80s vibe and everything. So it's like very appropriate, very you know, that's what you were going for and you pulled it off.
Yeah.
Is that a giant guinea pig?
Oh, this is my little lady. She was calling out while I was talking. I thought I heard her a few times. This is Jubilee. She's my little sweetheart.
Oh.
Hi.
She loves everybody and everything. So, come here, baby.
I never had a guinea pig.
They're the real stars.
Did you say they're the real stars?
Oh, the real stars.
Yeah, they're at the beginning of the film during the whole when I have this movie is restricted little parody. She's one of them.
Oh, nice.
You were just a little pup when we did that. But
is that what they're called? Is that what baby guinea pigs are called? The pups?
Yep, they're pups.
Huh. What do you know? Learn something new every day. So anyways, I wanted to touch on so with independent film, obviously a lot of filmmakers struggle quite a bit to get their things seen, and so I just wanted your thoughts on like how well because of how well Terrifier 2 is doing. They're up to like 10 million now for a movie that cost 250,000 to make. Do you feel like I personally hope beyond hope that this will maybe give some more independent films more of a chance for people to even do something similar, like do like a Fathom event or do some kind of event to get it into some small theaters, even for a little bit. I mean, obviously it worked for them.
Yeah.
So what do you guys think about that whole thing? And do you think it'll benefit you guys down the road? Andrew, you first. You have the guinea pig. You talk. You have to pass the guinea pig around whenever anyone else wants to answer.
She's got a microphone inside of her. Right. I think it could benefit a lot of people, but it's also something that could also hurt a lot of people too, because you're going to get a lot of. I'm trying to construct what I want to say in my head.
You think maybe like a comparison, like, oh well, this is
and I think of like Wild Eye releasing. They started out. They just release. I'm just gonna set you down, sweetheart. There you go. You sitting there. Okay. She's on her little thingy. Oh, she's in my sweater. But you're fine, sweetheart.
She's talking to me. All right, go ahead.
You're fine, Kevin. Don't worry, sweetheart. Yeah. So they started off doing, really low budget independent stuff. I think they even released High 8, which there was a lot of people like Ron Bonk had a segment in that. They all shot their segments on High 8 cameras. The problem with them was they didn't know how to market. Like all their DVD covers were like those overly photoshopped junk that nobody likes. Like I remember the cover for that. Like there's a woman with a DSLR lens coming out of her mouth, and you're like, why would it say hi? That doesn't make sense.
Right.
And then what they started doing was literally buying any zombie movie or any found footage movie and just releasing them. and a lot of them are so unwatchable. Like everyone asks me, like, what is the worst movie you've ever seen? Like something you really actually do not enjoy, and I'm like, oh, Final Maddie. Yeah.
Just go for the Wild Eye thing, just point.
Yep. I'm like, just throw a dart at the Wild Eye board. Matty O comes to mind. But they kind of rebranded it.
Like we're doing like reviews and stuff on YouTube, and they were like the first company that really just like hooks you up.
Yeah.
You know, like they're like, hey, you do reviews? Here you go. Here's a case of our crap. Here you go.
That's what happened to me. I was just talking about them on Instagram. They're like, here's a box of garbage.
Yeah.
I'm like,
sometimes,
thanks.
don't get me wrong. Sometimes you would get some cool stuff. Like them in Mill Creek. They would send us some cool stuff every once in a while.
Same here. Mill Creek. I got Santa with Muscles, which is a Hulk Hogan movie. They redeemed themselves totally with that one. I never thought that would ever be on Blu-ray.
So
I thought
they sent me the Gamera collection, like the full Gamera collection, and I got all of the Married with Children series, like all that. The Critic.
The only problem with Mill Creek is when they had the whole series, instead of having like nice packaging in the beginning, it was like CDs and like that little paper thing.
Yeah.
It's
my copy of Forever Night is like that. Like, I'm happy to have Forever Night. I don't know if you ever saw that show when it was on TV.
I love it.
Yeah, you know, it's a Canadian-made show. It's about a vampire who's actually a detective at night. I mean, it sounds terrible, which it probably is, but it's fun. But yeah, that comes in like a cardboard box, and then each disc is like in a paper sleeve. And I'm like, this is gonna break before I watch this whole series.
Yeah, I did. I recently bought the complete Kids in the Hall from them, and the packaging is horrible.
Is it really?
Oh. Yeah, but I have the Blu-rays of Kids in the Hall, and I not that long ago interviewed Dave Foley, so I got that.
Really?
Yeah. I was a mumbling crazy person. Let me tell you, I hadn't been that uncomfortable in a very long time. But but yeah. So Jessica, so do you know about Terrifier 2?
Nope.
No. There you go. There you go. So Terrifier 2 was the first movie that came out was called All Hallows Eve. There's a character named Art the Clown.
That wasn't David though, was it?
No, it was a different actor.
I didn't think so.
Then Terrifier came out like back when the world was drowning in clown movies, and it was when like It came out and all this other stuff. So it was whatever,
Clown.
but it like
I have a phobia of clowns.
It was on Netflix, and like just the image of Art the Clown like made people check it out, and it kind of blew up on Netflix. They recently just put out the second one, which was like funded through like Kickstarter or whatever for $250,000, and they did a 1 weekend thing, Fathom Events, and it did so well. They just this past weekend had their final weekend in the theaters, and they've made $10 million off of this movie.
That's
real crazy.
But it completely like no production, like it's all them. There's no big money coming in telling them what to do, and it is brutal. Let me tell you, it is brutal.
I forgot it wasn't financed by a studio. It was like all Kickstarter.
Yep.
So now I'm like really thinking about your question, and it's like these studios are like, I feel like it's both good, still feel it's good and bad. Like, you know, they can give 300, 250,000 same to any small filmmaker, but they're going to be in control. And then there also might be like a huge influx of this where it just becomes so oversaturated that it just instantly kills it.
Right.
And unfortunately, you know, there's going to be like a handful of really great movies that are going to get overlooked because of that.
I mean, but there already is. That's already the case. I mean, there's a lot of really great independent film out there that just gets ignored completely because there's so much. And you mentioned Tubi earlier. There's a ton of it on Tubi.
Yeah.
Which is awesome, but you still have to find it on Tubi.
Yeah, you really got to search.
So that's what we're talking about. So I think hopefully Jessica and Greta, because I don't know if you know much about Terrifier or Terrifier 2, but you know, I'm hoping beyond hope that this will be a thing that'll help you guys out. Because I want to be able to see more cool stuff.
It'll definitely open the door to that conversation, because at that point in time, theaters are still going to be, you know, picky and choosy. But at that point in time, now I think they'll have their eye. Oh, just like with the pandemic, like Netflix and Shudder opened everyone's eyes to independent film. Everybody was always clamoring for it, but they never searched for it. But
Yeah.
now I think people
Yeah.
now are definitely keeping their eyes open a little bit more than they used to, because it's
Yeah.
like, oh, well, I'm looking for new stuff. It's like, well, you have a whole independent section that, lower budget indie film that it's always been there. It's just that you've been searching for the mainstream stuff. So, at least they'll have their, eye open that it's like, okay, maybe we'll give this movie here a weekend or two or something like that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, they can even do events like the Fathom events. Like this could really open stuff up for filmmakers, and everybody can benefit from it.
I'm hoping beyond hope. I'm hoping. I mean, because you have to look at where they came from and whatever. And even though it's been years, it's still not that long compared to, like a lot of other stuff. We know some filmmakers that have taken 5 years to make a single movie, and it's it's tough. So Stephen and Leanne, I know you guys have had a chance to meet David, and Andrew, you have as well.
Yeah, he's awesome. So good.
That's the thing too. Is and one of the things that I am thinking is, in my lifetime, like we've seen the attempt of a new, like, icons, like Victor Crowley, and even like with Saw and stuff like that. It's still not. Jigsaw is one thing, but it's an item. It's not like David Howard Thornton is Art the Clown. So I really think that
way. Yeah,
he's a new age. He's going to be replacing Freddy and Jason and stuff down the road.
Yeah, and it's the same way you see Robert Englund as Freddy, and even Kane Hodder as Jason. You're gonna see David Howard Thornton as Art the Clown, and he deserves it. Like when he was up there talking about everything, and I had like kind of a really, really cool conversation with him, and just learning about his past, his upbringing, and everything, and how hard he struggled. Like he deserves everything good that's happening right now. So I'm glad it's happening.
I agree, and he's just a good dude.
Yeah, he was so nice to everybody.
Right. And I'm just hoping beyond hope that it stays that way. But
the fame doesn't go to his head.
I really don't think it will.
No, he's way too humble and nice for that.
So, I just wanted to hear your guys' thoughts on that. So, we are like almost at the hour point, and at the very end of the show, there's a music video thing that I want to play. You guys don't have to stick around for that. I completely understand. But it's something that my old band had recorded 2 Halloweens ago to come out 2 Halloweens ago, and it just got released the other day. So,
sounds like somebody's short film that's sitting on my hard drive that needs to get edited.
Yeah. Well, no, we did it, and then all the footage got sent to Sweden to be edited.
Oh wow, you had a.
Well, it's our we know someone who was editing it, and then he ended up getting more work, so he was just very busy.
Okay.
Well, yeah, so it's not like we had some dude that we paid $1 million to edit this video. It's not that at all. But
it just took him 2 years.
Right, exactly. But so I want to make sure that people know where to go to follow you guys if they're interested in checking out your other stuff. And
sure.
So Greta, where can people go to follow you? Like do you post anywhere about your projects or what you're working on or anything?
Yeah, I'm on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, but I'm probably most active on Facebook. I just pretty much type in my name, Greta Volkova, and eventually find me.
Nice. And do you have anything else in the works, like anything that's coming out, or is there anything else out there that people can see?
Yes. I've been in quite a few Polonia Brother movies, which are on Tubi. I think some of my other movies might be scattered on Tubi or YouTube. I believe Tales of Dracula is on YouTube. I currently was working on a werewolf movie. I think that will come out sometime next year called Mark of the Werewolf, and been just working on a couple other short films.
Nice. I'm a sucker for werewolf movies. I like them a lot. So I'll have to check that out for sure. Jessica, what about you? Do you have anything else out there where people can check out your stuff, and where can people follow you? You said you do modeling and stuff too. So is there anywhere else that people can follow that?
Mostly Instagram and Facebook. Instagram is Jess Fredell, Fredell, and Jessica Fredell is Facebook. I have a lot of shoots coming up. Those are pretty frequent. Fortunately, I don't have any films coming up, but I do have a shoot planned with Andrew tomorrow, and we could possibly do.
Oh my God, I forgot about that.
He's like, we do? What?
I would have remembered.
Sure, you would have.
I'm the one who's supposed to forget. God.
Yeah, I'm old. Good.
If anyone's old, it's me. Right?
A little bit older than me.
Well, yeah. Well, I'm going to be even older. My birthday's next week.
Oh,
Actually,
happy early
actually,
birthday!
I'm wrong.
birthday.
This is how old I am. It's this week. So, anyways, so Steve and Leanne, what about you guys?
Do you have anything?
Yes, I actually have a play that I wrote, a radio play that is going to be produced very shortly, featuring her and a couple other people I know. It's going to be on Players of Utica's Patreon page. I can't give you an exact date yet, but
Congrats.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Thanks.
I didn't know about that. That's awesome.
Yeah.
And I have a few coming up.
Oh yeah. You got you got some stuff where you've
Miss
worked
Famous
with some,
over
some
here.
names. Yeah.
Well, Time's Up just got distribution. I have a little short clip in that.
Nice.
That's what LCO
We've had them on for that movie. I think more than once. Yeah. It's those guys are all great.
And the beginning, end. We don't know exact time. But I'll be working on New Fear's Eve. I'll be with Dave Sheridan.
Nice.
I have a scene with it. And I'm doing a play in Ilion.
That's awesome.
They Watch should be coming out soon this year. Late this next year. Not years.
Yeah. In the next couple in the next couple months it'll be next year. But no, that's awesome. And the radio play thing, that's interesting as well. I like you guys would talk about renting movies and stuff. There was a comic book store that used to rent like old radio plays and radio shows like the Shadow and all this other stuff. And I would rent that. I'd rent that and Monty Python. It would be between the two. That's what I would rent. And then I found horror movies, and then that was it. It was all downhill from there. So Andrew, what about you? Where can people go to find your stuff?
I'm on Instagram and Facebook and
you cut out for like a second after Facebook.
Okay.
What did you say?
Oh, I just said Facebook and Instagram and whatever else. As
TikTok,
totally.
You're on TikTok. You dance like Tony does.
Yeah, I do my lip syncing, and I also get challenges going that are really unsafe and dangerous for other people.
Oh, nice.
No,
someone's gonna do it. It's gotta be you.
I tried TikTok once for 3 minutes and couldn't figure it out, and I was like, done. Got rid of it. But yeah, just Instagram and Facebook as Totally Terror, which is all my artwork. So I've done artwork
awesome.
for like.
Check it out.
Yeah, it is really cool. Really good, really good stuff.
Thank you. Yeah, I actually just talked to if anybody follows Red Letter Media, I just talked to Len Kabazinski earlier today. I was trying to do some artwork for him, but he just got a guy, but keeping me in mind. So
yeah, down the road, who knows?
And yeah, so I'm always doing projects there. I always have things I'm releasing, like my own work, as well as doing photo shoots. I was trying to do recently photo shoots of like old horror VHS covers, but I only got one to go through so far, and I did Nightmare on Elm Street. I have 3 short films. I've talked to Steve and Leanne about 2 of them, right? 2, I believe. There was the one called Glory Hole, about the glory hole in the
family-friendly comedy. That's what it is.
It's loosely based on someone who is in KNIFEMARE that is not a great person.
Oh, wait.
And then the other one was it's based on a video game by Puppet Combo called Feed Me Billy. I tried shooting that 2 years ago with a couple of guys from Watertown, but they were just too unreliable and just not. It's like they weren't interested. And I had to have a talk with them. Like, why would you say yes to this if you just don't want to do it? But,
I got all bloody for that.
Yeah, that's right. We shot a workout sequence with you. I forgot about that. And but I plan on doing that again. I want to do that still. And then I have a short film written that I also want to do, which it was actually about being isolated and locked away in a small remote place while there was something like a virus going around. I wrote that in the winter of 2019.
Oh, wow.
So it's kind of back there.
It's your fault. I see.
It kind of is. I was just, as soon as that happened, I was just like talking with Michael Merchant, and I was like, I don't think I can do this for a while now. But yeah, it's just always artwork, always doing short films and photos. And I apologize for talking at great lengths.
That's what the show is. I don't know what you're apologizing for. That's the whole point.
I usually just talk to guinea pigs, so I don't get to talk to people. So
I hear you. Tony, what about you? Tony is a guy who does TikTok, and he does it very well on TikTok.
I'll have to follow you then.
Yeah.
Yep. So I do Tony Has Nine Fingers on YouTube, where I do unboxings, movie reviews, anything movie related I do on there. Tony Has Nine Fingers on Twitter, which I hardly ever use.
I don't think anyone's going to be using much.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just,
especially if we're talking about charging everyone $8 a month. Like, doesn't matter if you have the blue check mark or not. That's what they were saying. I'm like, ugh.
I just use Twitter to complain. I'll just take that somewhere else. So
I don't know. It's just one of those things to say I have just in case or whatever. I used to try to promote my stuff on there, but then I get like, "Why are you watching this movie?" And I'm like, forget that.
So saying hi, by the way, Tony. Sir, do want me to say hi? And sir, we have seen your comments. We have, and I don't know why you're not able to find me on Facebook, but we're on Facebook right now as well. Sorry, go ahead. Tony.
So Tony Has Nine Fingers on TikTok, which I use mostly for movie related stuff, showing stuff off, and so that's probably my fastest growing.
And what are you up to subscriber wise?
Almost like 19,000.
There you go.
Slowly but surely. And then, of course, Tony's Movies on Instagram, where I show off the movies behind me. And here on the Wicked Horror Show, most Tuesdays. Sometimes it's not live. Sometimes it is. Sometimes we have awesome guests. Sometimes it's just, movie talk, like horror movie related stuff. So check us out for sure. Make sure you're watching us live. Because then you wouldn't see the trailer and stuff.
You won't be able to see the horrible Paco music video that's going to be playing in a minute.
But definitely check us out there and check out the Wicked Horror Show Instagram and actually Wicked Horror Show TikTok that will posting up like guests and stuff. So definitely check us out on all platforms. So Kevin,
just A Knuckle on Instagram. And besides this show, I also do Black and White Fright and Violence Buffet, which are both available elsewhere, obviously, and got some other stuff in the works. And that's pretty much that. I just want to thank you guys for coming on. I'm glad you were able to bring a bunch of people. Yeah. I really enjoyed the short, and I'm looking forward to what else you guys do. And it'd be cool to even expand on it. I mean, I like even the style-wise. Like
I do. I'm gonna see more. I do have something I've never really said out loud, but it is halfway written. It's a sequel to KNIFEMARE. Yes. So this is like a WHS exclusive here. Yeah, I've been writing it kind of over the course since we did KNIFEMARE, because I was like really influenced by the Beyond, where I was like, well,
that ending, it's a cliffhanger, Andrew.
Well, I mean, I could go any direction, really. But yeah, I guess I could just say, but are you? Because like,
is it all a dream?
Hence nightmare. I could pull a total phantasm and just make everyone angry and be like, it never happened. But but
maybe you're not dead.
I'm going in different directions because I'm really pulling Fulci vibes in from this one. Fulci, not Fulci. Where I was like really influenced by the Beyond and City of Living Dead, where it's like the gates of hell are opening, weird things are happening, especially with the eyes, because that's where they kind of came from anyway. And I was like, yeah, I could just go full Italian Bruno Mattei and just rip something off. And then but no, I'm tweaking it, but I am writing it, and I do know what direction I want to go in, and definitely who I want to include, and learning from all my mistakes. So there's that.
There you go.
That's what filmmaking is,
Right.
Exactly.
You said you did that your version of Reservoir Dogs and One See the Light of Day. I actually would like to see that stuff. I legit like to see like where people started and where they go to,
I do know where a handful of old VHS tapes are. They're in an old America shoebox in my mom's attic.
Well, there you go.
So
and I'm sure they're doing well up there.
God, there's definitely no mold or milk.
Mice, yeah.
Oh,
they don't
crows, owls, bats.
Owls.
There was an owl in there once. It got in when they were like redoing the roof. It somehow got in.
Nice.
But it lived and it got out.
There you go. Well, keep me posted. You know, if you guys have any more of the things coming up, do you ever want to come on for? You know, get in contact. And thanks again, everyone, for watching / listening. And now I'm going to play. It's a Paco song called "Cookout Vampire," just in time for 2 Halloweens ago. It was part of my friend's Garktoberfest. So you guys don't have to stick around. I understand completely. But
I'm sticking around.
After that, I will just end the broadcast, and you guys can be haunted by what you're about to see.
Well, thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, and Tony, too. Thank you very much.
My zombies will be out tonight. The sun is gone. Come outside. It's a cookout. Vampire 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 cookout. Vampire. Vampire, the fire gets even higher. Like this, like a buffalo sauce. Kiss the goat or the cow. Cookout, vampire, cookout, vampire, cookout, vampire, cookout.